All right, let's jump right in. Today we're doing a total speed run on the wild world of Pokemon card collecting. Whether you're just dipping your toes back in or you're trying to really level up your strategy, consider this your essential playbook for what's become a whole new Pokemon economy. And that quote really says it all, doesn't it? I mean, wow. We're not just talking about little pieces of cardboard anymore. People are paying serious money for the right cards, which means the stakes are way higher than they used to be. It's an absolutely fascinating market, and to play it smart, you've got to understand what people are actually looking for. It can be completely overwhelming. It's kind of like being that person at Olive Garden trying to tell the waiter when to stop grating the cheese. There are just so many sets, so many products, so many different cards. It is incredibly easy to waste a lot of money if you just dive in without a solid plan. Okay, so before you spend a single dollar, let's lock in the most critical piece of this whole puzzle, understanding your own goals. Are you in this for the pure love of the hobby, or are you actually looking for some potential growth? This one question is the foundation for every single smart decision you're going to make from here on out. This is, without a doubt, the #1 trap for people getting back into Pokemon. You remember that one specific card from when you were a kid, you find it online, you snap it up, and you think it's a great investment. But nostalgia, oh man, it can be a dangerous guide, because what's valuable to you might not mean a thing to the wider market. And this just illustrates the point perfectly. This Murkrow might bring back some amazing memories, and that is awesome. But if you bought it hoping its value was going to shoot up, you might be in for a rude awakening. The real key here is to make that clear distinction between a personal collectible and a market-driven investment before you ever pull out your wallet. So let's just break down these two mindsets. On one side, you've got collecting. It's personal, it's driven by nostalgia, it's all about the joy of the hobby. But on the other side, you've got investing. That is strategic. It's focused on growth and something called liquidity, which is just how easily you can sell it later on. Look, neither one is better than the other, but getting the two confused, that is the fastest way to make a mistake. So let's really lock in this definition. When you're collecting, you're just buying what you genuinely love. And you know what's great about that? If you truly love the item, you can't lose. Simple as that. Even if the value never goes up a penny, you still have something that brings you joy. Investing, though, that's a whole different ballgame. Here, the #1 goal is growth. It requires a more detached, kind of business-like mindset. You have to consider market demand, rarity, and how easy it's going to be to sell that item down the road. It's way less about personal attachment and a whole lot more about smart, strategic moves. So now that we've got the mindset down pat, let's build on that. This next section is all about building a collection that's not just big, but smart and manageable. It's all about focusing on quality over just having a ton of cards. I get it, it's tempting to want binders just filled to the brim with hundreds of cool-looking cards. And for a personal collection, hey, that's awesome. But from an investment point of view, a massive collection of lower-value cards can become a total logistical nightmare. The real goal is to build what's called a liquid collection. Okay, let's play this out. Imagine you have two choices, and they have the exact same market value. Option 1, a binder filled with 100 different illustration rares. Option 2, a single super sought-after chase card graded at a perfect PSA 10. For an investor, which one is the smarter play? The answer from pretty much any seasoned collector is almost always going to be the single chase card. It might seem a little counterintuitive, right? One item versus 100, but the logic is all about strategy, efficiency, and market demand. And here's why. Selling that one high-value card? It's simple. One listing, one package to ship, done. Selling 100 individual cards means 100 different listings, 100 packages, and hours of your time spent on just logistics. And here's the bottom line. Your personal time is your most valuable asset, and a liquid collection actually respects that. Okay, we have the mindset, we've got the strategy. Now for the really fun part, the actual playbook. Where do you find these cards? How do you know what they're actually worth? And when is the right time to pull the trigger? So your two new best friends for research are TCG Player and eBay. Use TCG Player to find the market price and to see a graph of its value over time. Then, and this is crucial, go to eBay, search for that same card, and filter by sold listings. This shows you what people are actually paying for it right now, which is the single most important piece of data you need to not overpay. Oh, this is a big one. When a new set drops and everyone is freaking out trying to get it, prices can just go through the roof because of all the hype and scalping. A smart investor does the exact opposite of a scalper. They're not looking for a quick flip, they're in this for the long haul, and that means you have to be patient. You really cannot give in to that fear of missing out, that FOMO. A perfect example is the Japanese 151 set. It was massively scalped when it was released, but the patient buyers, they were able to get it for a fantastic price when the reprint finally happened. Seriously, patience pays off. A huge question for any collector is, do I go for Japanese or English cards? This table breaks it down really nicely. Japanese cards, they're famous for their incredible print quality, and the art is often cleaner since there's no text covering it up. For just pure art appreciation, they're really hard to beat. English cards, though, they're the standard for playing in tournaments and are obviously way easier to find. So it really just comes down to your main goal. Are you collecting for display or are you collecting to play? All right, you've made some smart buys, but the job isn't over yet. This final step is arguably the most important one: protecting your cards and, if you decide to, getting them graded to really secure and realize their full value. I know this might seem really basic, but using a simple top loader the right way is absolutely vital. Always put the card in a soft penny sleeve first. That prevents scratches inside the hard plastic. A little pull tab, like a sticky note tab, makes it easy to get out without causing damage. And here's a pro tip: storing them upside down keeps dust from settling on the top edge of the card. Now, when it comes to grading, this is not the place to try and cut corners to save a few bucks. Newcomers are often tempted by cheaper, lesser-known grading services. But trust me, this can be a huge waste of money. Why? Because in the world of investing, the market has already decided which companies it trusts. And those companies are Professional Sports Authenticator, or PSA, Beckett Grading Services, BGS, and Certified Guarantee Company, CGC. These are the big three. Their graded slabs consistently hold their value because they've built up decades of trust. Now, for Japanese cards, a newer service called ARS is gaining some traction, but for English cards, you stick with the big three, period. And this really gets to the heart of the matter. It's not about arguing which company is technically the best at grading. It's about aligning with what the market already perceives and trusts. By using the established players, you're making sure your graded cards will be recognized and respected by the biggest possible pool of future buyers. It's that simple. And that's our speed run through the fundamentals of smart Pokémon collecting. From figuring out your goals all the way to protecting your assets, you now have the playbook. So the only question left is, what's your first move going to be?